How's it going, everybody? Uh, everybody gave me a lot of good reviews for the self-deception part one, so I decided to go ahead and do part two. This one's gonna be, hopefully it's not gonna be too long. I'm gonna try to make it quick, but I was gonna get all fancy and do like the music behind it, but I've seen that to realize that most people just like it raw, uncut, just plain as it is. I'm gonna go ahead and let you know now. I apologize in advance. This one might make a lot of people mad. People don't like hearing the truth, but I think they need to hear it. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it to you. First off, I want to give out some shout outs to some very important people that have given me a lot of support. So I just want to kind of quickly say some things to them. Miss Donna Morris, thank you. Brittany Mason, Angie Stevens, Fantasia, call her Fran, Daniels, Felicia Kohler, my girl Rush, Lisa Tour, Shalonda Copeland, Ashley Frazier. Thank you for the support, the feedback, the ideas. Thank you guys. Keep coming with those. It's only going to make me better. And most importantly, my wife. You know who you are, baby. I love you for the support. Sorry to anyone else who I might have missed, but you know who you are. I did want to take that time to give those quick shout outs. People deceive themselves into thinking that they're self-made. I don't believe in that concept. We all need support. We all need to help each other. A good friend of mine, Chris Evans, told me that. I'll never forget it. We all need to help each other from time to time. That's how we get good. But anyway, the last video on self-deception was an inward view of how we deceive ourselves. This one is actually more of an outward view of how we not only deceive ourselves, but how we try to deceive others in terms of what we do or what we say. So I got a lot of notes on this one, so forgive me if I'm not looking directly at the camera, but I hope you guys get something out of this. Please do not hesitate to share, like, comment on the feedback. Please, I need to know if this is touching people. So here we go. First off, Romans 12:2 says, "Do not be conformed to this world." That's just a shortened version of what I got out of that. But my question is, how many of us are showing that we're conformed rather than transformed by God? So how many of us find ourselves talking badly about others and engaged in actions that aren't good? Even those people that are silent are no better because they're laughing and talking harshly against those other people also. And technically, I mean, if you're laughing at a situation or laughing at a person's situation, to me, that's another form of acceptance and a kind of validity. So don't deceive yourselves into thinking that you're innocent just because you choose to be a bystander at that moment. 2 Timothy 2:16 through 17 says, "Avoid godless chatter, because those who indulge in it will become more and more ungodly. Their words will spread like gangrene." So you and I both know how rumors start. One person says something, it might be true or might not be true, taken out of context. Things like that just continue to spread like wildfire. Yet people think that they're not in the wrong just because either they didn't change it or because they weren't the ones that started it, but they continue it. So again, we deceive ourselves, I believe, in thinking that we're not a party to those things that are happening. But in all, we're really adding fuel to the fire. So another question I have for you is, and I know everybody can get down on this one, how many people know someone that claims to be holier than thou, but don't live it out in their actions? Oh, I know. But how many people know someone that's always right, and if things don't work out their way, it's always wrong, right? So, I mean, these holier than thou people, all those things, are they really living it out? That's the question. Because a lot of times, I know they don't. I know I'm not perfect, and I know I don't always live it out. But how many people are claiming and saying one thing, but then doing another? I mean, to me, that's the biggest trend in people that deceived or try to deceive other people, is by saying that they're a Christian, or they're saying that they're a believer, or they're saying that they're trying to get right with God, or he's not done with me yet. But those are the same people that are going out to the club that are saying all these things that are derogatory toward other people, and just being not just judgmental but condemning others based on what they think. And it's just, personally, I just think that those are the same individuals that should be encouraging other people, family members included. So how many people are constantly judging other people and condemning what they do, making them feel like they're less of a person? You can't expect someone to be perfect when you're not perfect yourself. We need to get off our high horses sometimes and remember that we're not perfect people. And how many people are showing others that they're hungry for materialistic things and showing off their stuff, but at the same time they're saying they're broke? They're showing the world through their $300 purse, their $200 shoes, that $500 watch, that they don't have it. But are you really deceiving yourselves when you purchase these things that you can't afford, attempting to pursue an image that isn't true? And again, I'm definitely guilty of that myself. I mean, sometimes I do the same thing, but we have to learn from our mistakes, though. And that's the biggest thing. Commitment. Guys, how many of you are dating a young lady and fearful of marriage, but are sharing the world, fearful of sharing the world with this person? And if she's really the one, then stop and make her realize that you guys don't need to be still trying to figure this thing out. You've been dating for 5-10 years, sometimes more, and you're still trying to think about and figure out if she's going to be the right one. Stop stringing these women along. And ladies, you're not getting off that easy either, because you keep pushing off the good guys and then wondering why you're still single. And you deny these good guys that really want to treat you well and take care of your bad kids that nobody else wanted to raise, and yet you still keep pushing these good guys off because they might not live up to that image that you want them to. They're not that 6'4", 200 pound, muscle bound dude driving a Lexus and all this other kind of stuff. But he's willing to be there with you and help mold you and grow you and your children, and take care of you and help you. But meanwhile, in the back cave, you still don't want anything to do with this guy because he's not perfect now. But my question is, are you deceiving yourself into believing that you're really attracting that perfect person the way you are now? Are you really saying to those people looking in and kind of shopping the market, oh yeah, she's ready, she's wifey material? Moving on. Here's another one. This is something that I wrote, that I read, I thought was really good. My wife shared this with me. It says, marriage is supposed to be a beautiful thing, a beautiful lifelong journey. Don't allow anyone to string you along into decades of dating. There's a difference between preparing yourself for marriage spiritually and financially, etc., and just dating to pass time. That was from Godly Dating 101. My question is, how many people are okay with having children, but marriage is a big step? Is anybody hearing this? You would literally have 2 or 3 kids with someone, and you know that that's gonna go farther than just that 18 years, but you think marriage is a big deal. I don't get it. Are they both not forever? Are they not always going to be your kids? Is your husband not always going to be your husband? But wait, I keep forgetting. If it's nowadays, marriage is like a microwave. It's nice how people think that it's convenient, but then when it starts giving you trouble, then you throw it away and go get a new one. Or you treat it like a refrigerator and you keep going back in and looking and expecting things to be different, but you haven't put anything into it. So I'll let that sink in for a little bit. In regards to that whole marriage thing, people don't want to take the steps to be married, but in the words of Donna Roth, you don't want to take that step, but then you want to give people titles that they don't deserve. Walking around calling each other hubby, oh, and that's my wifey, and there's no ring on that finger. How are y'all having an anniversary for a wedding that hadn't happened yet? It's okay, I'll wait. And then you're saying you're calling all these other people in the family, your in-laws and all this other kind of stuff. Nobody got married. So my question is, when you do these things, what are you showing your children? What are you showing your friends? Because believe it or not, a lot of people look up to you more than you think they do. And when you are shacked up with this person for 5 years, 10 years, y'all have 2, 3 kids together, all those things are reflections of what you believe is acceptable. And if you're choosing to accept that, then you're choosing to show that, and you're technically allowing your kids to think that that's normal. It's not. So another question. How many people thought about someone else when they're thinking about this criteria, instead of looking at themselves and how they project this image onto themselves. We need to stop thinking that we're the only perfect ones out there. It's not just us. It's not just them. It's all of us together. We have to be all in one mind. Have what a good friend of mine, a mentor, calls shared vision. The shared vision is not from this mysterious, we don't even know, this universe. The universe is a byproduct. How many people keep hearing about, oh, well, I don't believe in God, but, I believe in the universe, or, I believe in a higher power, but I don't believe in God. How can you believe in the universe when the universe is just a byproduct? That's just like saying you believe in a bottle, but you don't believe in the person that put the water in it. I mean, how ignorant can you really be? This is 2017. Read a book, for crying out loud. How about a Bible? That'd be a good start. Because when you think about all these things, why is it that the earth is floating around in the atmosphere, in the universe, 66, almost 67,000 miles an hour, and we haven't gone off track yet? You think that's an accident? That's not an accident. You can't just assume that just mysteriously happened one day for no reason. It almost gets me upset just thinking that these people are allowed to go outside and drive cars that can hit me when they think this way. When you feel yourself as being deceived, or where you have faults, you got to be honest with yourself. It's okay to admit that you're not perfect, but remember, other people aren't perfect either. 2 Timothy 2:19 says, "The Lord knows those who are his, and everyone confesses his name must turn away from wickedness." But how many people are praising his name but not turning away from their wicked ways? That's the question. When you say you don't believe, you are now instilling that same mentality to those around you. Now your wife doesn't believe, now your kids don't believe, and you're showing them it's okay to give up. It's alright, kids. Don't worry about it. It doesn't matter anyway. So now your friends see how easy it is to give up on their goals, and then you don't realize how many people are looking up to you. You got to realize this life isn't about you. But what I want you to see is how you can turn this, though. You got to learn how to deal with grief. It's a part of the process of life, and it's not easy. Life isn't easy. In the words of Les Brown, life is hard. It is. It's just hard. And time doesn't heal all wounds. I can't stand when people say, oh, it'll get better in time. No, it might not necessarily get better in time. You just continue to deal with it, and you learn in time that things aren't always perfect, that life is limited, and you don't know when those things might just come to a halt. Are we really sad that the person that we loved is gone? Or have we really deceived ourselves into thinking that what we really want is more important than what God had planned? Or have we deceived ourselves into thinking that the people that we loved were going to be there with us forever? And do we really value them while they were here? So those are the things you need to realize. Another thing too is, don't be deceived by what other people have in regards to where they are in their lives. What you walk up to, and the concept I call walking up to, what you walk up to doesn't make you a better person. Whether you walk up to a really nice car, you walk up to a really nice house, you walk up to a really nice job, that doesn't define who you are, because any of those things can be taken away just like that. You're blessed with those things because of God. Let's get that straight first and foremost, because you can't deny that other people have those things and they're at the same place in life that you are. That's not the case. And another form of self-deception I think we need to get over too is that as children, our parents don't owe us anything. They, out of love, just like God loves us, they do those things not necessarily because they have to, because they feel as though it's the right thing to do. God, remember, when Adam and Eve were sinning against God, when he told them the difference, he could have shut the game down right then and there. But out of love and grace, we continued on. So you got to remember that. We look for God's involvement in our lives by what he allows us to have. If he really loved me, I think I'd have more, right? Not necessarily, and maybe not now. But you might not be ready for what he's planning for you, and a lot of people don't understand that. Don't be deceived into thinking you deserve something, because you really don't deserve anything. If you really think about it, we all really deserve to really burn, because we are always sinning. So you just got to realize that. How many people are putting faith into temporary things instead of placing God at the forefront of our lives? A lot of people aren't doing that. and the pressure of being a believer, believe me, I know it can be overwhelming. Believe me, I know. But the question is, how hard are people really trying to become a believer? How many of us are really just making excuses as to why we can't learn more about God and why we don't have a good relationship with Him? A lot of times people are thinking, well, I got to get myself right first before I get into church. No, He's ready to accept you right now, just like you are right now. You're never going to stop growing and learning until you're dead. So what I want you guys all to realize is, don't be deceived into thinking you still have time, because that time might be gone before you know it. And for any of us who's lost anyone that's really important or really a loved one in our lives, we know that more than anybody. So don't deceive yourselves. Please leave feedback, comments below. Let me know what you think about this video. But before I go, I did want to give a special thanks to Mr. Austin Haberly. This is a person that went from having anxiety issues, being afraid to speak his mind, to posting weekly YouTube videos and creating a channel. That is not being deceived by your fears. Way to go, Austin. Please, more people, share your breakthroughs and your testimonies with me. I'd love to give another shout out to anybody that's willing to go above and beyond, because if you really want something bad enough, you do just about anything to get it done. Just like a husband that'll provide for his family at all costs, or a single mother taking care of her children, a boyfriend that'll take that next leap to his, with his girlfriend that has been there with him through thick and thin, just like that girlfriend that will literally hear that message and hear that love from her boyfriend and accept that ring, because she knows that he's not perfect either. So, but he's perfect for her. So again, just please make sure you guys leave any kind of comments or feedback in the description below. Sorry this one was a little bit longer, but I had to hit a few points. So I know it's a few people upset on this one, but sorry. Alright, one love and God bless.